is supplementary angles. So if you just finished the complementary angles video, you remember that complementary is 90 because C comes before S and 90 comes before 180. So supplementary angles must sum, so two angles that sum to 180 degrees. So that means that I have this angle and then I have this adjacent angle. It doesn't necessarily have to be adjacent. That is totally wrong. Let's try this again. I have this angle. I have this adjacent angle, and together they make a straight line. Now notice in our first example, they don't necessarily have to be adjacent angles. They don't have to be connected to be supplementary. But if I were to pick them up off the screen and put them together and make the one overlap, it would make a straight line because they are supplementary. And so to figure out this x, I know that together they have to add up to 180. So I could just use my brain and count up on my fingers. I could also just do 180 minus 132. What do I get? 48 degrees. There are lots of supplementary angles here. So if I think about this line in particular, this angle and this angle together make a line. This angle and this angle make a straight angle. And that doesn't even count the other line. So I'm just going to name two, but know that there are multiple. So if you're like, those weren't the ones I was thinking of, you're not wrong. They were just the ones that I did first. Okay, so angle DEF and angle FEH is an example. Okay, again, you can list them all. Feel free, pause. That's what the pause button is there for. Okay. All right, so just like complementary and supplementary, these work the same way. Draw yourself a picture if you need to. I know that they're supplementary. Okay. I'm just making a guess at where the line is, so they could definitely be way off. Together, they add to 180. So 3x minus 7 plus 2x plus 2 equals 180. Because again, together they equal 180. Like terms gives me 5x minus 5. And that equals 180. I'm going to add 5 and divide by 5. To get that x equals 37. Now, again, I have not answered the question because I have not actually stated what A or B is. So the measurement of angle A would be 3 times 37 minus 7, which is 104 degrees. So it looks like I have my parts flipped, right? The big angle and the little angle, because my picture does not show an obtuse angle there. Measure of angle B is going to be 2 times 37 plus 2, which is 76 degrees. So if I wanted this to be slightly more accurate, still wouldn't be super accurate, but oops. There we go. I would want the first one to be the obtuse angle. Okay. For example 4, you are allowed to stop the video here if you're like, hey, that's pretty easy, but I did want to show you example 4 because it takes your Algebra 1 skills up just a notch. Because I know many of us look at this and freak out because, hey, there's fractions and fractions are scary. But when it's 1/4, it's really just like dividing by 4. So the first thing I would do is just distribute and divide by 4. So I really have 9x minus 2 here. For this one, I'm dividing by 2 instead of 4, so half of 6 is 3, and half of 20 is 10. Now I have something way more manageable to work with, and now the problem becomes just like the other problem. So take our 2 and sum them together to equal 180. So when I say sum them together, the sign in the middle was plus. If I'm combining my like terms, I have 9x and 3x, which is 12x. I have negative 2 and negative 10, which is negative 12. Now I have my two-step equation, so add 12. Divide by 12. And I get 16. Again, I haven't answered the questions because I haven't actually found the angle measures. You can sub it back into the one with fractions. That's fine. With a calculator, that's not very hard. I'm a little lazier than this. I'm actually going to plug it into the 9x minus 2, but instead of x, I'm going to put 16, which will give me 142 degrees. Went off the screen there a little bit. Sorry about that. Okay, and then for the second one, I'm going to plug it into 3x minus 10 to make it a little easier to work with. Calculator says that's 38 degrees. One last thing before I end the video. Remember, just simply type it in your calculator to check. Does 142 plus 38 give me 180? Yes. I didn't do that on example 3, so let me go back real quick. Does 104 plus 76 give me 180? Yes. Okay, now I can feel confident that I know how to find angle measures when they are supplementary.